All right, we're starting.
Review time, definition.
Let's say f of explicit minus
What is the power rule statement?
derivative of x to n
Derivative of x to the n.
equals n x to the n minus 1.
What's the product rule statement?
F prime
Not the product rule.
over g. Derivative of f over g.
Derivative of
F over g.
product rule.
Oh, f prime equals f prime g plus g prime f.
Quotient rule. Or d dx.
F over g. G prime g f prime
Chain rule.
d dx.
C prime g of x times the derivative, yeah, g prime. U prime e to the U prime U prime e to the
What is this?
C f prime x.
C.
What else?
Derivative of f over minus derivative of g.
CX is the cost function, then the marginal cost function is what?
C prime x.
Tell me how derivatives relate to motion. Physics. Huh?
Velocity is the first derivative of position.
Alright, so if we have position,
Position, velocity, and acceleration.
then velocity is
S prime.
first derivative of position. And then acceleration. It's the derivative of velocity because it's the second derivative of position. That's how you get acceleration. What's linear approximation formula?
F of A plus F prime of A times X minus A.
Okay, so I asked you on the quiz to find this. Tell me the steps. I don't care about the numbers. Tell me the steps on how you do it. What was the first thing you do? Step one.
Substitute f of
Figure out your function. What would be the function?
F of X approximates F of 9.
Square root of x.
Oh yes.
Right, square root of x is what we use. We already did that. Okay, so then what would you do? Then you find f prime. So then what would you do? Find f of a,
And
F prime
f prime a. Pretty much plug in after that. Alright, so basically you have who would be your x here? Who would be your a?
x is 9.9 and 9 is a.
It would be 9. So basically you have that this guy 8.9 is approximately equal to f of 9 plus f prime of 9 times 8.9 minus 9. And then you plug them in after you find the derivative and all that, which is 1 over 2 radical x. You plug in 9 into that, into this, and 9 into this. Put it here and here, and then you solve for the rest, right, as a fraction. Find derivative by definition. What do we do? Derivative by definition. No.
fx plus h.
Be the limit. Like that. Parentheses. Then what? What's the LCD? You said 3 minus x? And so that would give us the limit. Then how?
6 minus x.
No.
12 minus 6 x.
No.
Minus 2 x plus h. Plus 2x plus h.
2x plus h.
Plus 2x
Plus 2h.
plus 2h. Equals?
We cancel the 2.
6 and 2x.
2h. H.
I'm looking at
times 3 minus x.
Okay. Find the equation of the tangent line at x equals 1. Plug it into what?
So that's x.
So if I plug that in here, that gives me
Y.
y, which is, in this case,
1.
then what?
The slope.
How do I find the slope?
Just plugging 1 into
Point slope formula.
plug the x into the plugging 1 over 2 over 3x.
Into this?
Yeah.
What would I get? What would I get?
4.
So what's the equation of the tangent line?
Minus 1. Half x.
Differentiate.
So that equals to y. Both sides.
So this equals to y?
I don't know that. Wait, no, we did. This is subtraction. So is it
What does that mean? What do I write?
Could you use that divide the log right there?
Well, you can use any law as long as it's applicable.
You can open it up to subtraction
How would that look?
ln of the entire top part. Minus bracket ln of then the first part opens up to addition.
How does it look?
Ln of radical a plus ln of e to the 5x plus ln of x plus 14. Then the radical x goes to a half, and then you bring over the half to the front. X plus 5x ln e and the plus 3 ln of x plus 4 minus 2 ln
How are you getting the 2
Okay, that opens up into addition.
Sure. Negative sign would have to be
Negative sign,
distributed.
too. And find the derivative.
So I went through all that, so what's the derivative?
1 over 2x. 1 over 2x. Plus 5. Plus
3 over x plus
3 over x squared.
minus 1 third.
That's u prime over u. 0 over u. That's nothing. That's 0.
It's a constant.
Yeah.
Think the word. This one.
2 over x minus 2 over x. Let's see.
Find y prime.
Factoring as is as e to the x, e to the x plus y times and 1 plus times y prime.
What?
Threshold y prime. Yeah. That's particle as x times 2y.
It's wrong so far.
It's wrong.
You didn't do the
Can.
2y.
I don't know.
Come again?
2y.
How'd you get 2y?
That's great.
I said it's wrong so far. What's wrong here?
We're supposed to take the second, like, y squared without the derivative, just like 1 times y squared.
What are you talking about? This. We're doing this here. We're not there yet.
You need to take 3 plus 1.
Sure. So what?
So it's really
Parentheses.
like.
What's this one?
Continue like that's particle as x times 2y times y prime plus y squared times 1. Yeah. Equals 1 over x.
Then?
So for y prime.
Sure. Yeah. It's easy to say. How do you do it?
Bring over isolate y prime, I guess.
Okay. How do
So
you
the
do it?
y squared goes over
So this you're bringing to that
goes
side?
over, yeah. And then we distribute the guy in front.
Right. This has to be distributed,
Yeah.
which is why we need to remember the parentheses.
Oh.
Now what?
So the y squared goes over e.
We already did that.
Yeah, the e in the front goes over 2.
I think I'll put space.
And then you factor out y prime in the front. That's e to the plus 2 over stuff.
Get rid of those two. Then what?
Divide by the bracket right here. That's funny. Watching
You guys thought like you're watching a golf match or something. What the hell? Very polite clapping. Questions on the review?
with Google Drive. Just typing time.
Yeah. Your 3y would be 3y prime. Spring 2009. That's what you said? Column 1. What is that? Okay, what are we supposed to do? Oh, find the derivative. Okay, how do we find derivative? Using quotient rule, right? There's your f, there's your g. And so now that y prime should look like, what's the formula? Okay, so f prime would be?
1/2
Okay, write as powers for now, because it makes it easier to factor things out. It's easier to see. Okay, times parentheses 2 plus ln x minus, so now we put f, which is x to the 1/2.
times 1/x.
G prime is 1 over x, all over.
2 plus ln x.
Simplified. How do we simplify? Before one x cancels into this, you would end up with, this becomes what? This term here. X to the half divided by x gives you what?
X to the half over x.
Which gives you?
X over negative 1/2.
Oh, that's minus. Yeah, it is.
So what?
X to the half minus 1.
Right, which gives you?
Negative a half.
X to the minus 1/2. Okay, simplify.
Oh, that's algebra.
Yeah, algebra. Laws of exponents. How do you simplify?
You factor x to the half.
Factor x to the what?
To the negative half.
What would we have left?
Half 2 plus ln x minus 1.
Not much to do there. Nothing really cancels. You could even factor out a half here, and make that 2 or something somewhere. But there's nothing. So this would kill that. So the 1/2 x to the minus 1/2 ln x. So it was quotient rule, division. And there was a sum in the denominator, so I wouldn't even think of trying to divide into each term, because that wouldn't really help me.
Jhevon, for
Yes.
the quiz, when you say do not simplify, you just want us to open it up, that's it, and leave it?
Yeah, in the quiz when I said you didn't have to simplify, it means you could have stopped here.
Alright.
You have to simplify the
No, the instructions on the quiz said you didn't have to simplify. Other questions?
y equals ln times.
Where is that from?
I'm not sure, but it's from the review.
Yeah, I wanted to know which one so I can refer people to it. But what, y equals what?
Ln times e to the x squared.
What do you mean ln? You mean ln of e to the x squared?
No, parenthesis first, yeah. X squared minus 1.
That's from.
Yeah, and then minus 1.
Yeah.
That's it.
This is also from Spring 09?
Yeah. It's
1b. And differentiate, I guess? Alright, so how do you differentiate? Chain rule, which gives it? Okay. Derivative ln u is what?
U prime over U.
U prime over u. You're going to take the derivative of this, put it over itself. What's the derivative of that?
That's EX squared.
Yeah, what's the derivative of e to the x squared?
2x.
Right, u prime times e to the u. Derivative of 1. So, other questions?
Because it's on the thing, because of the under
Can
the
you do fall 2009?
in the syllabus it's at the drawing book.
1C.
You're not getting all the reviews of
Fall 2009,
1C.
1c, I guess another derivative. What is the
Yeah.
function?
Y equals ln of x all squared minus ln x squared.
How do I do that one?
You do the product relation, the not time.
I do what? Chain rule, so how do I do that by the chain?
That's
Two
2
ln of x times 1 over
The 1
times 1 over
times the derivative of the inside. That's the chain rule.
minus 1 over x squared 1 over x squared. Yeah.
So that just becomes 2 over x ln x minus 2 over x. Or if you felt like factoring on that 2 over x. I don't think it's a really big deal here.
board, it's so easy. And on paper, it's like.
What?
No, so when you do it on the board, it looks easy, but when you put it on paper, it's like.
It's exactly the same thing. Let's do it on paper, look exactly the same. Other question? Huh? What?
One with, this is from the fall 2013.
Fall 2013.
Yeah, and it's 1B, y equals square root of x to the 4th plus 1.
Square root of x to the 4th plus 1, all under the square root?
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of the square root plus ln, parentheses x squared.
Okay, how do you do that one?
So that's x to the 4 plus 1 plus 1/2.
Rewrite it. You can bring that 2 down if you like. While you're trying equals.
Chain rule,
Chain rule.
that's half. X is 4 plus 1 to the power of -1/2 times 4x cubed plus 2 over x.
And this 2 can cancel that for 2 times, so you end up with something like 2x cubed half plus 2 over x. Other questions? Yeah.
I forgot the number, but it's radical x to the 4 plus 1. The plus 1 is outside.
So it just says that?
Yeah, plus 1 over radical x over minus 1. Yeah.
Right. So it says radical x to the 4th? That's a weird way to say it, but okay. And it's find the derivative?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. How would we do that? What's the approach? Huh? Quotient rule, so division. Here that's an f, here that's a g. So I know my derivative is going to look like f times g minus f times g prime over g squared. Once I figure out it's the quotient rule, now it's just plugging in the pieces. How do I do this?
Isn't that like x?
Radical of x to the 4th is what?
X squared.
It's just x squared. It's kind of weird that they'd write it like that. That's just x to the 4th raised to the 1/2, which is just x to the 4 over 2 by the laws of exponents, so it's just really x squared. So differentiating this is like differentiating x squared. 2x times g minus f times g prime, which is again going to be 2x over b squared. Simplify.
Factor x squared.
Factor of what?
X squared minus 1.
X squared minus 1 is not a common term.
2x.
2x is a common term. So I factor out a 2x, which is the only common term it looks like, and what would I have left?
X squared minus 1 minus x squared minus 1.
And so what do I have? This takes that, and that just becomes minus 2. So it's just minus 4x. Other
So
questions?
we have got the same point if we stopped it up top without cancelling the x squared or stuff. Full point.
No, right?
No.
Okay, bring it here. If you made it this far, x squared minus x squared should be no problem.
Y equals,
Where is this from?
I think it's from 2009. I mean, 2009. It's from 2010. I'm sorry. 1c. Y equals e to ln x to ln x plus 2 divided by 3 radical x. That's it.
Okay, how do we do that?
Bring the 2 over.
Bring this 2 up,
Cancel the e and the l.
e and ln, so that's really just x squared in disguise. What about this guy?
That's the
Quotient was overkill.
to the power of -1.
No. So it's power derivative.
2x.
minus 1.
Minus a half. Here, so
Oh.
The numerator denominator is a constant, don't do quotient rule. Technically you could, but I've seen most students make mistakes when they do that because they always forget that the derivative of that is a 0 and they write the 2 there for some reason, I don't know. That happens pretty often.
I have 1B with that same.
1b,
Y equals 4x
what?
3.
Y equals what?
4x to the third power.
Oh, yeah.
Square root 4 minus x squared.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do?
rewrite the second part.
Now what? Product rule. I have this function times that function. That's my f, that's my g. I know the derivative is going to be f prime g plus f g prime. F prime
12x to the square root.
times g
Second part.
plus the f times the g prime. How do I find that? Chain rule. Minus 2x. Here, this 2 would cancel that 2. And so 4 is a common term because I can get a 4 out of the 12 and a 4 out of here. What else? X is also a common term. I can take out an x squared, you factor out the lowest power. Right? So there's a 4 is a common term, x is a common term, and this is a common term. 4 minus x squared. What power do I factor out? Minus 1/2. Always factor out the lowest power. What do I have left over?
3.
3.
That's it.
The x squared I took out. This. How much do I have left? How many?
That's 0.
I have 1. Remember when you're factoring something out, you subtract the power that you factor out from all the guys remaining, right? So a half minus a half gives me 1. Plus 4x squared I took out, so it means I have 1x left over. By the way, be careful, this is actually a negative x from this negative sign here. And then I have this guy to the minus half, which I actually took out, right? And then I have an extra x here. Right, so there was a 4x cubed. I took out x squared, so I have an x left over here. And then there's another one here. So there's an x squared left. So now to finish that up, you'd simplify what's inside the brackets. So that'd be 4x squared. So this would be 12. This would be minus 3x squared minus x squared. This is going to be minus 4x squared. And if you want, you could even factor out another 4. This is fine. Or you could factor out another 4 from that. You get 16x squared. Other questions?
5 problems again, or
Yeah.
same format?
5 problems, 15 minutes each. Other questions?
From fall 2010, 1D.
I notice that everyone's asking questions from problem 1. I'm hoping that that's actually because everything else you guys found really easy, and not because problem 1 is all you guys got up to. Because that situation would be very bad. Okay, so what's 1D?
Y equals ln fraction, but the numerator is 2x squared plus 1 to the fifth. E to the negative 7x. 3x squared plus x plus 1. And parentheses in the numerator, the denominator is 2x.
Like that, and then
Yeah.
2x. Okay, this is similar to one I asked you before. So what do we do here? We did one like this earlier.
Alright, so we're going out by yeah, 5 plus. Alright, open up to a minus.
What
Open
does
up to
that
a
mean?
subtraction.
Where?
ln the top part.
Well, on the top I have multiplication, right? So
Yeah, so that's going to open up into addition.
Oh, yeah, open,
Minus the bottom part.
now what?
The power comes down.
Plus 1, 2, 4.
And then this.
Power comes down.
What can I do here? Nothing. This can stay. You can split it up if you want, but it's not a big deal to deal with. So that's my y. Now let's find y prime.
5
Derivative.
times 4 over that. Minus
U prime over u, and the constant just stays. Right? That's because the derivative of constant times f of x is just the constant times the derivative of f of x. That's what I applied here. This
minus 7 plus u prime over u.
u prime over u, which is
9x.
this is a square.
6x plus 1 over x. That's 2 over x. 2 over 2x.
Right. So u prime over u, 2 over 2x,
That's just 1
which is just 1 over x. Other questions? Any other questions? Okay.
How do I, wait, want me to read to you?
Where is it from?
Spring 2010. So,
Problem what?
problem 10.
Maybe it's just
Yeah.
Spring 2010, problem 10. After an advertising campaign, the sales of a product often increase and then decrease. Suppose that T days after the end of the advertising, the daily sales are F of T is equal to minus 6T squared plus 64T plus 105 units. All right, so T is time in days. A. What is the average rate of growth of the sales during the fourth day? That is from T equals 3 to T equals 4. So average rate of change from T equals 3 to T equals 4. That's part A. How do I do it? Huh? Average rate of change. How do I find it?
F of B minus
That's F of B minus F of A over B minus A, which is average rate of change, which in this case is going to be F of 4 minus F of 3 over 4 minus 3. So that would become minus 6 times 4 squared plus 64 times 4 plus 105 minus 6 times 3 squared plus 64 times 3 plus 105 over 1. So the 105 would be 105. And then what? 6 times 16 plus 64 times 4 plus 6 times 9 minus 64 times 3. Okay. So I have 9 sixes minus 16 sixes. So that gives me 7 sixes. I have 4 64s minus 3 64s, that leaves me with 1 64. What's 7 times 6?
wow.
Huh?
42.
So it's 42 plus 64. Gives me?
Wait. How did it go from like the entire thing all the way down? The 64 thing.
What?
Like,
What do you?
22.
I thought of this as minus 16x, and here it's 9x, right? I think of the 6 as the variable. So I have 9x minus 16x gives me minus 7x.
Oh, you cancel the 6.
I'm using algebra. And here I think the 64 I think of as x. I have 4 x's minus 3 x's. Gives me 1x. Or you can do the 16 times 6 and then 64 times 4 and get big numbers, and that's fine.
nobody taught me.
You'd end up with getting 20. Of course they taught you, it's algebra. Okay, so that was part A. Part B. At what instantaneous rate of change are the sales changing when t equals 3? So I want the instantaneous rate of change at t equals 3. How do you find instantaneous rate of change? Just the derivative. So this is f prime of 3. So I first find f prime of t, which is
-12 plus 64.
And so what I want is just f prime of 3. So f prime of 3. Remember, that's what the derivative gives you, the instantaneous rate of change. So that's minus 36 plus 64, which is what? Minus 36 plus 64. Come on, you're not allowed to use calculators, knock the rust off your brains, right?
28.
From where you got the minus 12t?
That's from here. I'm finding derivative.
Oh, you
So
plug in 3?
Derivative of minus 16. Derivative of minus 6t
Yeah.
squared is just minus 12t. And then I plug in 3, because that's for the instantaneous rate of change at 3. That was this one. Other questions?
Yeah.
Any more?
Spring 2010, number 9.
What is that? Is that a word problem?
Yeah.
We could do that. That's implicit differentiation, but I wouldn't worry about that. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
No.
Sure.
Forget it. I'll catch you on the next test with a problem like that. No, I don't think I'll put it on this one. It's an application of implicit differentiation, but it's kind of like related rates, so I put that on test 2.
Put a big X over it now.
You could practice it for bonus.
I have
Huh?
number 10 for spring 2009.
Spring 9, number 10. A word problem, I guess. A ball is thrown straight up into the air. Its position measured as the vertical distance from the ground. Regard up as a positive direction, and let S of t be the height of the ball in feet after t seconds. So S is in feet, t in seconds, and they gave you this formula. Suppose that f of t is minus 16t squared plus 128t plus 5. So that's the function that gives you the height of this ball, t seconds after it's launched. Okay, so
First you do the derivative.
it says, what is the velocity after 2 seconds?
You find the derivative of s.
Right, so remember that velocity. So this is part 8. Velocity after 2 seconds. So you first find the velocity function, which is, you remember, it's the derivative of the position function, which is
Negative 32.
so now you just find the 2 minus 32 times 2 plus 128. So you get 64. And technically it would be feet per second, but I don't really care about the units. Part B, what is the acceleration after 2 seconds?
Takes us to
So we want acceleration after 2 seconds. So first you find the acceleration function, which is just the derivative of the velocity function, negative 32. Now that's a constant, so the acceleration after 2 seconds is just minus 32. At what time is the velocity minus 32 feet per second? So it says at what time, which means they're asking for t. So basically, when is v equals minus 32 is the question.
Yeah. So you could do both.
So this you know is v, just set that equal to minus 32. Minus 32t plus 128 equals minus 32. Which means that minus 32t equals minus 32 minus 128. That's what? Minus 160. And then t is minus 160 over minus 32. It would be after 5 seconds. When is the ball at a height of 117 feet? Right, so it's talking about the height. The height is the position function, and they're saying when is the position 117? That says when is s equal to 117? This is part D. So basically I'm going to set minus 16t squared plus 128t plus 5 is equal to 117. How do we solve that? Put everything on one side, so go get it. So bring everything, let it equal to 0. So it's minus 16t squared plus 128t. And 5 minus that is?
112.
Okay.
Can you
Then,
factor?
sure, term factor.
Well, you could take out a 16.
16 goes into all that? Or do I
Yeah,
get?
negative 16. T squared minus 8t plus 7 equals 0. And then you just factor that.
How do I factor that?
Well, t minus 7, t minus 1. Then you set them both equal to 0.
Alright, so you get t equals 7,
Or t equals 1.
or t equals 1.
And you gotta plug it in them. They don't both
It's,
work.
I think it said when, right?
It's at 1. Because 7, it doesn't work.
Why doesn't it work at 7?
Then you plug it in.
7 would work. They both work. They're both
Both?
answers.
Okay.
What happened is you can think of it as the ball goes up and then back down. So there are 2 times when it's at 117. Once on its way up, which happens at t equals 1 second, and once on its way down, which happens at t equals 7 seconds.
Okay.
Right. The only thing where you'd see something is impossible is if you have like negative time. Or the only way you'd reject one is if the problem asks you to specify on its way up or on its way down. If they ask about on its way up, you know it's t equals 1, on its way down is this. Other problems? Okay, I guess I will see you guys on Wednesday.